Proving the decisions that you make through time and reality is why you step into this video. Now, you might go, well, okay, what are the tangible outcomes, Kevin, that I may get from this? So we got, again, a quote of, you are in the jar and you cannot read the label. We got a board and darts, an example, okay? I will further go into this. Then I will invite you to look at the canvas of which I will paint for you. Use an example of a plane that you got on that intended to go to Japan, right? Then it actually took a 2 degree shift off, okay? So it landed in Russia instead, okay? And I'm like, whoa, 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 I did not intend to get here. Okay, so that's exactly an example of what can happen just with a tiny, tiny deviation of intending to get to somewhere, except just the plan wasn't exactly the actual way of which you wanted to go, but you really thought maybe possibly it could have got there because it's a plane. It has the capacity to get there, but it was just the way in which the plane was orientated didn't get me there, right? So that's the same in life when we're going to get to certain things, okay? Now, that could be on a wealth aspect, that could be people that we'd like to be in the circles of, that could be mentors that we'd like to work with and under, that could be places we'd like to get to, okay? Hopefully you have a freaking map to get to that place that actually gets you there, and you didn't run into that kind of mishap that happened with the plane operator that was driving that vehicle. And that's kind of you driving that vehicle to get to that place, because the vehicle, maybe the plane, will get you. I don't know, it can possibly get you, but you want to have make sure it has the capacity to even get you that far. Okay, so that can run into a thing that we'd call, let's say, time for labor. Okay, and then you pay for that, and then it's like, does that have the potential for me to get to the 2 comma club? Yes, it possibly does, but again, you got to be pretty freaking smart about how we got there and get there. So you could multiply out the step by step dedicated program to get to that goal. So again, dedicated program is a huge, huge thing with anything that we're intending to achieve and bringing to this reality. Because again, if you were taking one step forward in a intentional way towards the direction of which you intend on going, your how that effort of your attending to your intention with attention to get there, then if we know about the law of resonance, we got one more step that's going your way as well. Let's take a step, because energy cannot not freaking attract, okay? Because if the intention is there, it's like you're a freaking magnet and you're taking that step, and the universe is taking that step as well. And now, if you know about collapsing the wave function, that's something that you'd want to look into, okay? Because again, if you imagine like a frequency fork that okay, it's going further and further and further out, and then ping, ping. And if I keep on pinging through repetition, collapsing the wave function, then more energy is inviting. Now, the more energy I'm emoting and inviting to come out is going to make that signal, like a radio frequency of which I'm emitting out for that to come into my life, is through the behaviors, through the actions, through the beliefs of which I have in here, and which I'm enacting and emitting outwards, okay? Now, if you've ever seen, you got a heart, you got a torus field around you, you got 5 to 15, 20 meters, let's say, okay? And with that, you should really, 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 really consider, what is the vehicle I'm using to get to where I intend to go? Because you're currently here. Time and space will always be there in the middle. There's this gap. Then you got the ideal reality of which you envision for yourself. Now, paint that with as much detail as you can. Then reverse engineer what that would be in as much detail as you can. So, I want a physique. No. It should be, the physique that I want is 85 kilos at 10% body fat, and I'm 185 centimeters. And I want to play XYZ sport, okay? So I got to go to the gym 4 times a week. I got to make sure I have a dedicated program that gets me to that goal. So I'm going to get a mentor that can get me exactly to what I want, and that person has done that before and has taught others to get there. Okay, then I need a psychosocial environment with myself in my brain and my local environment that's supportive of me getting that goal, and I need that internal drive to even get there. Okay, you got them, you got a mentor, you got a dedicated program, you got a psychosocial environment, you got the drive to go out there and go do that thing, then you bet your bottom dollar that you're gonna freaking get there. Okay, because that's on the willingness scale. It wasn't from someone else. Oh, hey, you should go do this thing. Like, oh yeah, that's a shot right idea. But then the inner voice is saying, hey, let's freaking do this thing. That came from you. It wasn't an outside source. So the power and the wellness power of that is a lot stronger. Okay, so even Paul Check will talk about this, where you have clients come in and it was more the husband, or it was some other people that were saying, hey, you should go see this guy, and they didn't really want to do it. So on the willingness kind of meter, he would say they were like maybe on a 6, a 5, a 4. So they kind of have to find a reason rather for themselves to actually go out and do that thing. Okay, and that's what he'd allow them to discover in order to get the goal of which they would want to achieve and like. Okay, because it's a lot stronger when it emits from you, because you are a freaking unique being and a unique person with thoughts, etc. But does that always get to be expressed? No, it doesn't. Why, you might ask? Well, more than likely, this is a, now I don't know if it's coined by me or I haven't heard it from other people, but essentially it's like conventional wisdom gets conventional results. Conventional protocols get conventional um results. Okay, then unconventional wisdom gets unconventional results, right? So see the way like conventional results of what most people are getting in their lives, of being 116% in debt, depending if you're say Australia or the United States, and that's what they die with, is the conventional money codes which people are operating on as behaviors of what they would see as wealthy. Okay, so they're getting advice from this kind of local environment of, hey, get the mortgage and put it into this thing and you're going to be all set. Well, if you actually future proof that into the next 10 years of like someone that's older than you, and you talk to them like where they're at with life with the same advice that you followed, well, ask them, see where they're at. More than likely you do that, you're like, oh, that's actually not where I want to go. That's not what I want to do. Then you go kind of into the 6 year olds and 70 year olds, and you ask those older generations, like, what did you do? Like, what money codes did you follow to get there? Okay, then what fitness codes did you follow to get in the position that you are, that you're overweight, have to go to the hospital, have to spend absolutely enormous amounts of money for, like, medications, etc. Because on average, I think Americans or so are like an eight medications from like I think it's from 60 years old or above. Nuts. That's what I said. That's nuts. So see what I mean? How like I've pretty much painted a really shortcut picture of what most people will not think about, or maybe you have thought about it. And freaking round of applause. Now, let's get more even dialed in here. So I scratch my head sometimes and go, well, okay, I'm here right now where I am, right? That's a comfort zone. Then I have to go, well, if I want to change anything, I gotta take a step outside that comfort zone. Then another step, then another step, another step. Now it could be one step on a slack line 20 meters above the ground, or it could just be one like step on this log that I know is there. One is a lot more easier than the other, okay? Perfect. So let's just expand the comfort zone as much as we can. Because think about it, if you're outside something that you're familiar with, unfamiliar rather than familiar, then you have to change. Something has to change. Now, go for that experience. Because what happens is if I listen to a book, let's say listen to Lynn McTaggart today, right? And one of the meditations was that in Peru there'll be look for a sign on a stone, trying to interpret like certain signs, and they'll look at that and as a message, right? So then another to get guidance, okay? Or another lesson could have been today of you have an anchor point. So the anchor point is breathing, right? Then from this you would center yourself, hopefully in a quiet space. Then at your kind of belly here, once you feel centered and you're in, is you get here, and then you just test that kind of energy that's coming from, say, your belly button, okay, or solar plexus, let's say, and then you might wave in and out and see how far that kind of goes away as you keep and going and going. Now, what's the point? The point of what I'm saying there is that that is something different that I do not normally do. Okay, that I'm going to have a cellular experience of because I just did it in front of you. Now, how would I accelerate that? I'd emote more emotion into it. I'd be more attentive and intentive, attending to my intention with attention in that moment of time, with all the conscious power that I have in that thing. Because again, the more energy you put to things like that frequency fork, the more that the universe takes a freaking step to meet us. Okay, so the law of resonance, okay, or laws of the universe. You literally think if you take a step is freaking coming to you to take a step, right? Okay, so think about the actions that you could take that would help the universe to invite what you're trying to invite into your life and have it come. Because if you do not, don't expect to get different results of which you're already getting, because you're not taking any different results, because you're doing the same freaking behaviors and things that aren't going to get you the result unless it does, and unless it's just literally time and space which is waiting to catch up to the reality of which you have in here, and it's already existed in here in your higher faculties and creativeness. Okay, and then it's just for physical reality to transmutate that into physical, sorry, for that to be transmutated into physical reality, for you to realize that in physical form, right? Yeah, okay. Now, the whole point of basically what I've said here is you got a direction. Okay, future proof that direction. The exercise that I would use, an application of that exercise of future proofing the reality of which you intend to come forth, is make a kind of rectangular box, right? You got horizontal lines and vertical lines. Then imagine we're in, a holographic. If you ever know Michael Talbot, the holographic universe, or you got a holographic. Okay, and that's to say is Star Wars, right? Most people seen Star Wars. Is that you make that reality, right? Build the layers. Okay, what's the fundamentals of this choice? So I go, no, I'm not going to do that choice, which will lead to X, Y, Z. Opening up free time so I don't waste my time on social media. Okay, how do I do that? I put a timer that leads me to like 15 minutes of social media that reminds you to get off it, or just delete the app, and then I know in my calendar, my Google calendar, that I'm going to stick with. I'm going to put my time to that. I record every single hour of the day that I'm doing something. I block it out. Then I can recognize that, oh, that's my feedback loop where I took note of exactly what I did. I took note of where my attention was lost. I took note of what I felt more life from versus life was taken away from me. Was it the people that I was around? Was it the food that I ate? Was it the bad sleep that I had? Was it the great sleep that I had? Was it that I saw if I got light in the morning and it got into my eyes and I felt like more alive? Okay, diving more into that now. I gotta educate myself even more on the whole light scene, but it's very, very freaking interesting. Would invite you to do the same. It seems Dave Cruz is on some, or Jack Cruz, sorry, is on some money with that. Yeah. Anyways, I get lost here. Is that see the intention of the video, and then segues that can happen, right? So that's actually a freaking prime example. In a video, someone have the intention to do something, right? And then the higher faculties and intuition of just talking to you right now can lead to different places, even though I had an intention. Okay, now that serves as a prime example of an experience that you just had watching a video with someone with the intention of, essentially inviting others to see a perspective and from a different lens. So to say, due to reference material and awareness of what that person may have, which allows them to access these realities that can possibly play out. So to finish my example of creating that holographic kind of universe and choices, is you kind of have like a system one thinking, sorry, not system, no, that doesn't matter. That's thinking slow, thinking fast and slow book, but what I'm getting at here is if you have a situation, a choice that you're trying to make, right? And you're like, okay, right, what can I use an example of to really see where does this go? Okay, perfect question. This is what I generally resort to. One, of the ladder against the wall, And if I keep in climbing and like building this ladder, because you're building that reality with you're building that ladder with the actions, behaviors, and where you put your time, investments in for the energy of that ladder to even come to fruition. Um, and then if you were to build that out, let's just say with everything that you know to your current awareness status, if it's 1 out of 20 lens, 20/20 lens, that or other people have done it, mentors have done it, and you follow that. Does it get you to where you want to go, or is that ladder that you've built get you to a treasure that you don't even really want to be at, okay, or a destination that you don't want to be at? So that brings us back to we didn't want to be in Russia, we want to be in Japan, okay? So then let's move the ladder, or let's just actually get rid of this ladder, make a new ladder, okay? That was a lesson. We got some results. The feedback was that no, we don't want to get there. So we just did that through the higher faculties. Right brain, again, the first place, that first part of the brain that is developed in the womb. But again, school knocks that out of us. Again, if you ever think of, oh, how come imagination goes? What ages go? Around 4 or 5. What's the cause? School, right? So let's go over to a more of the kind of frame that I'm talking about, holographic thing, is build it out. So like imagine yourself in that reality, going through it of the choice that you make and the things that you're doing, and then go up and up and up and up and up and up in it, and like paint it like this freaking, I don't know, it's like a leaf or something, right? And then you got the crisp outside. Okay, so someone's taking a picture of that. I don't think it's painted, but the thing is if you do that, the yes situation, so it could be like you with a potential partner, the no situation of that, or the maybe situation of that, okay? And then you really think, you don't just go to binary yes or no, you go to, okay, if this were to happen, what could happen from that thing? If I did an investment in XYZ, what could be the probability of that loss? Okay, so then with choices and decisions, a really, really big conversation to have is what you've been taught about probability, what you've been taught about the law of averages, what you've been taught about, let's say, risk, or the stories of risk, okay? Super fascinating. You look into that when it comes to a financial decision, right? That's one of the biggest things people have is I'm gonna get a mortgage, but again, that's a pledge till death. Okay, I didn't look into the etymology of words. I didn't even know that existed. Well, that's a new layer of awareness that came up. You want another one? You want another one? Got connotations, got denotations, okay? You got innotations, okay? What is the lexicon of people of the higher worlds? What is the lexicon of people that have the results of which I would like to achieve? What sort of kind of terminology are these? What sort of lexicon is in that kind of circles that I should be aware of? Ooh, if I knew those things, would I be leveling up? Yes, you would, because that's outside your comfort zone and reference zone. So go and find those labels, get those labels, bring them into your life, use them, play with them, wrestle with them, and go after life with the intuitiveness of play. Then it's behavior. Behaviors are play, right? Then how could I gamify this, Kevin? Because if I can gamify something, like all games are super enjoyable, and you'll look back on your childhood and go, well, yeah, when I was playing, I can remember that. I didn't have to like force myself to remember how I was playing or playing a game, right? Now the rules of stuff, yeah, maybe, but the actual times that you did it, you had a cellular experience. You were in this enamored state of like the subconscious and maybe a bit conscious, and you look back in that, and it's in you. You didn't have to like try and upload it, okay? Because that's it plays in the reptilian brain, right? And it's one of the, like, basically it became before verbal language, okay? It's, we just know this rough and tug that teaches kids empathy, that teaches them, oh yeah, I shouldn't really push that person that hard because they know the limits. But if we don't do that, then people don't really have that access to it, and they don't really know how to share things, possibly when, you know, someone came over from a play date and you're playing Lego or something like that, okay? And then, oh, they're my things. Oh, but actually they want to play with me. They're my friend. Okay, cool. So then I'm going to give them that, and then we can actually work together and create this unison versus this separative competitiveness, right? Now, I've gone on a few tangents there, but again, it's those mental things take you out of the jar that you might be in to not be able to see the situation that you're in. So you have to come up with the ingredients of labels, of awareness, of observation that allow you to see where you're at, okay? So it might be in your head, in the Napoleon Hill's book, Thinking Richer. It's gone out of my head, okay? Would be that, imagine that you've mentors in your head. So, for example, it could be Joseph Chilton Pierce, it could be Paul Kent, it could be Keegan Smith, it could be Rudolf Steiner, it could be Okay, and anyways, a bunch of other people, right? Paul Check, whatever. I don't know if I said him already, but anyways, let's just say they were them, and then I would consult them in my head of like, hey, what would I do today, right now, if I was to make this the day that I'm writing the story of my legacy? Maybe it would be me uploading this video for the future of probably children that I'd have in the future, or people that I want to help with, because it's like if I knew that the Kevin from younger years didn't have this awareness, because obviously there's a growth aspect, then it's like, well, would this exercise help that version of myself? 100%. Are you capable, and are you quote unquote certified or whatever to write the story or help people through what you've been through? Yeah, 100%. So why not freaking give some people some tools that allow them to do that? Okay, that's where this sentiment for me at least is coming from, and even this video is coming from. Okay, because one of the biggest games that people do not ever teach someone is the ability to be flexible. Okay, so that's mind flexibility, that's mind ability. Okay, like some people got it, some people don't. Okay, now there's an ability to see that some people are just locked into the Avery, and then the birds of thoughts. Let's say the thoughts were the birds, okay, and the Avery is the prison. They create in their head, equals a finite a capacity on an infinite possibility realm of the omniopulent spirit. Let's say. Now, there's a lot of segues I could go about on this, but again, my biggest hope is you don't just listen to this. You get triggered. Get triggered as much as you can. Okay. Again, that would be something doing what don't do. Or if someone pisses you off, okay, what's your automated response to that? Think about you getting pissed off. What's the automated response to that? Now, is that an ideal one that you would like to continue? And then what results is it getting? Okay. Then think of another possibility. Then think of another possibility. Then practice. Use that practice. Then get triggered, and then upload the new practice for something that you would like to do. So if that inner voice is coming, go to the gym, and you don't go to the gym, that's the automated response. No, go to the gym. What's the first thing you can do? Get your shoes on, get dressed, go in the car, go walk, go get the bus, go cycle, whatever it might be, go arrive at the gym. Even if you stop in front of that gym and then you just have to walk home and you didn't even do a workout, that's the first freaking step, was even you putting on the clothes for the gym, going outside the house, then going and looking at the gym, and then going home. See, you broke straight away the strength of not going to the gym, because you literally got a switch, got a trigger, an emotion came up to not do that thing, an emotion of another possibility came up, or sorry, another thought process, then the emotion of cellular experience came through when you just went and did that other action that wasn't the normal automated response. So think about anything and choices that you're making. Do these automated responses spiral you upwards, or do they spiral you downwards? Okay, they're huge factors to consider. Perfectionism is not the game. Volume of choices that spiral you up are. Now, if you'd like more sort of thoughts, polymath endeavors, which I have, yeah, appreciate you watching this. Hopefully it helps. Leave any comments below, and it'll be a pleasure to keep this rolling and getting to know you, and subscribe below, and chat soon, and best luck with applying this.